Cancer, the moon's in Pisces, and she's asking what parts of yourself can you show more compassion as you're growing along on this journey. Stay tuned to find out how you can work with that spiritual energy, Cancer. But before we jump into that, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just stupendous, Cancer, and it keeps us going. And for those of you who are new, welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and I'm happy higher self has brought you here. We're in for an amazing journey, especially on this moon in Pisces. And for those of you who are new, this is a channel for those of you who have Cancer in your placement. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, wherever, Cancer. This one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads based upon ruler here, the good old moon. And I'll talk about what sign she's in. I know she deserves all the praise. I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, when she's going void of course, just all of those lunar shenanigans. And just so you're all aware, for everybody, this is not a this is totally a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me. Never force reading on the situation, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Now, let's jump into it. Oh, maybe. Oh, there you go. All right, Cancer, your space has been cleansed. Crystals, I don't know, I feel the need to update you with them on their energy, but, you know, they're feeling lovely. There's even Rhonda over here. Let's get her, get her in the view there. Just great angel around here, Cancer. Yeah, there we go. And Cancer, happy Jupiter Day. Big Papa's here. Hope you're feeling expansive. Hope you're feeling optimistic. Hope you're feeling, and not just like I feel like fake optimistic, you know, that fake toxic. I just heard the term toxic positivity not too long ago, and I thought that's an interesting concept, and I've actually been kind of questioning my enthusiasm. Big Papa's actually conjunct my ascendant, so, you know, I do have a lot of enthusiasm, and he's in Leo as well, so you talk about big enthusiasm. So that's something I've been even kind of finding it more, not shrinking it, but tempering it, you know, making it last, you know, like, or spreading it out, just coming at it a little bit differently. But Jupiter's days, I feel, are a great day to get into that optimistic energy. And because when you're in, and this is the side I like when we're talking about Pisces energy and we're thinking about the lucky side of Jupiter, because I feel all the luck has usually been given to Sagittarius. But the thing with Pisces is Pisces brings about this energy of awareness. And when we're thinking about with Jupiter, the things that Pisces can bring up sometimes may not always be the greatest. You know, we may have these dreams and then we get into it and it's just like, oh, you know, once we've accomplished them, then they become kind of commonplace. And it's just like, okay, it's not to say we're diminished the wonder or anything, but it's just like there's this Pisces about it's transcending the ego needs and in the growth that comes with that, the expansion. It's thinking about life in the grander scheme of things. And we're going to get into that in a moment. But I feel this on Jupiter Day, this is thinking about, it's that optimism, that faith in the grander scheme, that these experiences, no matter how we may feel about them, positive, negatively, they are experiences and they are a beautiful piece in this grand mosaic that is the universe, this life, this journey, this whatever however you connect with this experience. So, you know, this is one, and I find in going in that energy of acceptance, of elevation, that you do find this abundance. For example, I'm in a situation right now where I just need a little extra side money. You know, you got with where the rent's at and you know, all the other things, just need a little side hustle, little side gig. And you know, it's not quite in alignment, but it's one of those things that it's providing the resources that it needs to, and I have time to get caught up. I've been getting caught up on some herbalism podcasts because was kind of my step into even starting to work on myself. It got me first in tune with my body and what I needed, and actually it's kind of been a revitalizing type of energy or being in this experience. So I've been listening to more stuff about that, and that's been even gotten me thinking about how I can incorporate that more into the astrology a little bit, provide even some more practical tools when we're under more kind of stressful things, even maybe some herbs that I personally like working with. St. John, this is not medical advice, by the way, but St. John's wort is bay. I'd usually like mixing with something, usually especially if you find yourself like in the evening time, some chamomile, some St. John wort. That's that's doing it, Cancer. And we're the mothers of the zodiac, so having those neat little tools and neat little tips and tricks under your tool belt, I feel is always a nice little perk there. So that's something I'm going to start incorporating in here, and working with the astrological hours as far as like doing different tinctures during, like, because Venus hour is a hot one right now, but again, Jupiter energy is actually kind of on the lower end right now. And he's actually not going to be up with him entering Gemini. That may still be kind of an interesting. I'd be mindful if you're working with like talismans and things. Be mindful of which you already know about Jupiter hour. Anyway, Cancer. Jupiter days are also great for sharing information. So as you see, I have a lot of information that I'm going to be sharing, that I'm going to be kind of sorting out there. Maybe I'll save those specifically for like Mercury and Jupiter days, so I'm not just inundating you, Cancer. Because as you can see, having a Gemini moon, I'm always learning new stuff, and that just raises my vibration through the roof. So also, I feel Jupiter days are great for learning new things as well, learning from a mentor or even teaching, some things there, Cancer. So that's another way of working with the energy for travel as well. This could be either actually going on a trip, and I feel like not just on like a trip to the grocery store, trip to something that you've already familiar with. Jupiter is expanding, getting outside of your comfort zone, getting outside of what you know. So going to maybe a restaurant you've never gone to before, planning that trip to Mozambique or to Thailand or to Australia, wherever you're feeling there, Cancer, I'm with it. And maybe we'll cross paths on our journey. I'm thinking about getting out of this country here soon a little bit, going on a little trip. But that's all I got for you on Jupiter day, Cancer. Oh, and also Cancer, no, it's not, because also on this day, Pluto is going retrograde, Cancer. And I actually kind of like this. I feel that this gives us a chance, because Pluto brings up a lot. And I feel this has been, especially since, really the beginning of the year, but I feel especially during this eclipse season, there was a lot of big energy that transpired, whether I feel you were following astrology or not. And I feel this is something where Pluto going retrograde allows us, and I go a bit more into this on my other channel, so if you're curious about how this energy may be working, check out that on my other channel, Alchemist 8. And this is something to pay attention to, where this is happening to in your house by house system. That's going to really kind of show how this is playing with you more personally. Pluto's been going through my 6th house, and that's been changing up my day-to-day routines, making sure I stick with my day-to-day routines. And there's been a lot of things that have been kind of fighting against that, but luckily I have Saturn there, I have Neptune there, I have my North Node there, so routines are ones that I live by. And I've been having to be mindful of my health. I've even been kind of thinking, I remember was looking at something, it was mentioned even like it was a little thing, it was like, oh, it might even be a nice time to start therapy. And I was like, and I was actually just talking with someone about that, so that might even be something to even think about. But this has been a time where I've actually kind of changed my diet drastically. I went from, especially over the last few years, I had noticed that I had kind of cut red meat. I'd have like ribs or something every now for my birthday. My mom would make ribs, but even I started cutting that out, and eventually I just started getting on like a whole vegan diet, and my body's been feeling great from it. So it has been a lot of changes into that Pluto's been kind of asking me for, but it's been helping me tune it. I was actually just telling someone that I've been feeling more comfortable and more powerful. I feel it would be the right word, considering Pluto in my body since doing this, and kind of reflecting on how these changes have been doing on that. So that's something to pay attention to when this stuff is going through your chart. And if things are, and I've noticed some things too in my routines that I need to work out, that are going to need to change permanently, because that's what Pluto does. So there's some things that I'm still working with too, but it's like, it feels more tangible. I'm not just looking at it, and that's going to be kind of, and we'll talk, I'm getting ahead of myself, but yes, Pluto retrograde, this I feel is a great time, especially retrograding in Aquarius. This is us I feel like reflecting on, because things are changing, and I feel like this is a noticeable change with this retrograde. This is one where we're starting to see where more people are going through some similar changes, some big things that, this seemed a bit out of the norm, that there's a shift there's been a change in the matrix. So, this Pluto retrograde, I feel, is giving us a time to just kind of catch up on that, to kind of really process that and work on integrating that, and what power can you find from that, and where do what does that bring up for you? Where do you want to go next with this? Pluto's not meant to just be morbid, but just because he brings up a lot of tough stuff, but it's just he doesn't bring up things that you're not ready for. That's how this journey works. It may not seem like it in that moment, but I find in hindsight that's when that stuff comes together. So, and also, while we're on this energy of reflection here, Cancer, the moon is going void of course today. Now, the moon's going to be going void of course at about 2:28 a.m., and that will be Pacific time. And then she'll be moving from the intelligent Aquarius into the intuitive Pisces at 11:51 a.m. So look at a nice little lengthy flow of time there. Oh, a little flow of time there. Cancer, fascinating. Hold on. We'll get into that in a moment. Interesting. I think we got that one before, Cancer. But with the void of course is when the moon forms her final aspect with a celestial body. And then I like how I was just watching this, just took this course not too long ago that a guy was explaining, because there's some research on the void of course and things, but there's not a whole lot of topics about the void of course. And this really dates back a long way, Cancer. He's getting into, I tell you, astrologers back then were really doing it, but he was making reference to like William Lilly, and they were talking about the void of course comes from this word. I think it's a Roman word, but it's canadromia, and it translates to roaming the void. And I kind of like that for the void of course energy. This is what the moon is. The moon is kind of reflecting on the energy that she was just in, the chapters that she in, because she goes through the signs so fast. This is just her time to just kind of be. And the flavor of this void, of course, is that she's forming a square with Big Papa. And squares can be a tensor type of energy. And when you're squaring Jupiter, this could translate as maybe we're having troubles putting our faith in the collective, possibly, because thinking just with the moon being in Aquarius, Jupiter being in Taurus when this would have happened, it could be where we're not sure where things are going as far as that. Maybe this could be, we're not sure what we value, what we're going to contribute to that, how we're contributing to maybe the betterment of society, possibly. Or it could be a number of things, whatever it has been kind of coming up for you. What I picture with this void, of course, is that time where it's like where the memory is starting to actually take form. It's starting to crystallize into starting to really get set into place before you move on to the next chapter. So I feel this is a time to be really observant of that transition from one sign to the other, and then how that shift is almost like okay, now we're on to something new. Now I feel something different. It may be the same topic, but now we're having a different flavor about it. There's a different feel. Now we're moving from Aquarius to Pisces, and those are two very different energies. And so I feel the void, of course, that can be a time where you're not doing nothing, where nothing happens. And so it can be a time where we just kind of sit and be and allow ourselves to just kind of see what energies you may have picked up, what may not be yours, and how do we work on those boundaries even going forward? That could be one thing. But the tension with Jupiter just gives me that there may be feelings where maybe we're feeling that we're not feeling as abundant, considering that Jupiter is in Taurus. Maybe we're feeling that we're lacking in some sort of area. Maybe this is in finances, this is in self-esteem, Taurus deals with our self-worth on top of our material goods and things as well. But the big chunk of Taurus is about finding that sense of inner peace. It's hard to find outer peace, but it's even harder, I feel, to find that inner peace and to feel that reverence, that security, that I have everything that I need in this body, that the body knows what to do. Taurus is a very physical sign, and I feel that this is trusting in having, even though it can be hard, trusting that intuitively when it comes down to it, you know what to do. I feel like a lot of people, and let me know, Cancer. I feel like some people may have said at some point in time that you do your best work under pressure, and when at the final hour, sure, some people like to plan, but sometimes really some of your best work happens when you're just in it. You're just kind of going on instinct. You're trusting your intuition and how that all comes together. So that's where I could feel like this could even be where we may even use this void of course to let go of some of our thoughts about maybe as far as like trusting ourselves and as far as like what you're capable of. So just something I feel like to reflect on with this void of course energy. And then now, Cancer, if you haven't had just a triple dose of reflection, we're the win a waning crescent in Pisces. And I feel that in all this reflection, we could be thinking about all of the things. Pisces is, yes, they're a very intuitive sign, but they're aware of the bigger picture. They're aware that we are these spiritual beings going through this human experience that, it's more than that this world is just an illusion. This world is something that our awareness has created. There is a part of us on the other side of the world that is living a whole different life that we're completely unaware of. It's thinking a lot broader, but when Pisces, I feel, in this awareness, Pisces energy can be about a letting go. It's about that transcending the ego. And I feel that a lot in that there gets a lot of almost like depressing kind of connotation sometimes when you think about Pisces. It gets into like escapism and things, because when you're thinking about transcending the ego doesn't like that. It's just like, wait, I'm the sun, that our ego is our sun placement and the world revolves around me. What do you mean there's something bigger than myself? Like, why? But it's the thing I feel with Pisces in 12th house energy is that it's not just about the letting go of this experience, that all this stuff is for nothing. It's more so that, oh, I came here to learn compassion. I came here to feel love. I came here to feel sadness. I came here to feel extreme joy. I came here to feel extreme grief, to feel fear, to feel courage, to feel all of this thing too. And I feel Pisces too, it does bring us all together, because there is a reminder that we all are going through this experience together, and it brings a deeper sense of compassion, because then we're able to put ourselves in others' shoes. That's what makes, I feel, Pisces so intuitive, so gives them that sense of psychic energy, because they have this vivid imagination. They have this the water signs have this connection with source in very different ways, but it's through these feelings. And Pisces has this vivid imagination where they can literally, I feel, put themselves in another person's energy, or imagine when you see like an animal in pain, or even feel like where a tree has even been damaged. You could feel that, and then to have that sense of depth in things, it's a beautiful gift, but it can also be a bit much. It can be a bit of it can be a double-edged sword. But I feel all of this waning crescent is inviting you to look at how, not just what you've let go, but what in all of that letting go and all you've acknowledged, what you've allowed yourself to let in, and how your values have changed, how you have grown. Because the dispositors here of this moon are Neptune and Jupiter. Neptune has been domicile for these last 13 years or so, and Jupiter's wrapping up his time in Taurus. And that energy, that combination, and they're actually getting ready to form a lovely conversation towards the end of May, where Jupiter and Neptune are going to be in the sextile energy, and Jupiter and Venus are going to be in a conjunction. It's going to be a lot of Jupiter. Big Papa's going to be on stage, and he's shining bright. And I love that he's giving all this abundance as we take this over into Gemini energy, and he starts his new 12 year cycle over in Gemini. But this can be, I feel, a very beautiful time. Now this is, I feel like, the calm after the storm, a time to allow yourself to rest. I even feel as we're getting into like the waning crescent in Aries, this is like the pace is going to feel a lot more manageable, is what I feel like. Maybe this, like, and it's not to say there probably won't be their little bits, a little bit of turbulence maybe here and there, but I feel like the energies are just like, it's like, okay, we had a lot that we were working with. Now we can just sort of integrate this a little bit. Then we can start socializing a bit more. I feel like it can be very interesting what can happen here. But yeah, reflect on how you've grown, Cancer, and be compassionate with the fact that you've grown so much and that you've changed and that other people have changed as well. But and if you're curious about how these energies are working in your chart and want to see how you'll work a bit more individually, book a reading with me, Cancer. Links down in the description box below, and you can also check this on my bio on Instagram as well. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, because it really is really cool because I'm even just like I'm getting, when this is coming out, the moon being in Pisces, I'm forming a waning square with my personal lunar return chart, my moon being in Gemini. And I'm just reflecting on just all the things that have happened during this lunar cycle and how they have shifted the needle towards where I'm wanting to go. And there are some things that, like, okay, like that's going to take a little longer than I had initially expected. Like I was wanting all the things to come at once, but I'm like, no, let's start with this handful that we're working with, and it's been working really well. And seeing how these energies been, just kind of translating in my chart. And so, if you knowing where these energies can be, especially I feel like for the moon and wherever you have Cancerian places, this gives you an understanding of what's happening emotionally for you and wherever you have that Cancer placement. And so that you can be more in the flow of that, so that there can, it makes it so that this life, and even if you happen to, because I will say that I didn't maybe go through it the most gracefully this lunar cycle, but I got through it way better than I would have done when I wasn't doing all this. So, it's a matter of perspective when you come through with this, and getting familiar with your energies and what you're working with, and taking on this flow. And I'm getting, I'm in my solar return. I'm in a Taurus rising energy, and so that's been a fascinating one to kind of play around with. But I like it though. It has been a very grounding experience. So, but yeah, if that's something that resonates with you, Cancer, definitely check that out in the information in the description box below. Let's go ahead and get you in the flow of your energies here, Cancer, because look at your general energy of the day. You got the meandering pathway here, which is the card of flow. And I feel with this, Cancer, I feel when we're in Pisces energy, this is a time to get in the flow. This is the time to allow yourself to do some self-care, to get into it, allow yourself to get out of your head a little bit, to get into an imaginative space. I feel Pisces is really great energy for doing some dancing, allowing that sort of, just doing something that just take you out of, maybe go stare out, go look at the clouds there, Cancer. Maybe go watch the water if you're near some water, or maybe even just go outside, just listen to sounds, maybe go listen to some music, something that just gets you into that imaginative space, that space. Because I find when we allow ourselves a break from life, we've come to be such a society that's like always like push and do more, and how can I be more productive in this time. Sometimes being productivity is just doing nothing, just allowing yourself to just kind of space out a little bit. And I don't mean, of course there's a balance. Like with all things, I'm kind of feeling like a temperance card as I'm talking about this. Because Pisces can sometimes get into that escapist realm. Sometimes, like I had mentioned earlier. Because there is that yearning to connect with source. There is, because sometimes I feel with Pisces energy, that reason to escape is that this world can be a bit harsh. There can be some some things where it's just like, oh, I like it better where, you know, things are dreamy and I have everything is possible and I have all this stuff, and it's like, but Pisces energy is like, how do we take all of that imagination and how do we manifest that in this world? You know, but a part of that starts with our perspective, with our awareness, you know, because the things, you know, they're going to keep happening, you know, but it's how do we show up in combat against that? You know, how can we be the change that we want to show up in the world? You know what? You know, there may be something that you're aware of that, I mean, I can't see, you know, that you can do. And you know, as I feel as we're getting towards this, getting ready to start this new moon cycle that's going to be happening in Taurus at this degree where I really kind of like where this is going to be happening in the Sabian symbol that's coming. But I know I mentioned that before. But I feel that these next 12 lunar cycles, I feel this can be a really powerful time, Cancer, for the whole soul tribe, for sure. But I do feel for Cancerian energy, you know, just with linking up with the moon cycles and just kind of getting in that flow, because, and I say for especially Cancer too, not just because this is obviously Cancer channel, because we're one of the initiators. And I feel that sometimes that's forgotten, that, or there's not a lot of emphasis on that when you think about, there's always this, you know, we're seen as the mothers of the zodiac, there's emotions, it's all this soft energy that when you're talking about Cancer. But Cancer, we have, and this is something we're going to work on incorporating too. I've been looking into like the lunar mansions and a lot more. Sidebar, where yes, the moon has, you know, her home in the fourth house. The moon has 28 lunar mansions. So the moon is a baller. And Cancerian energies were ballers. And so, but I feel like it's getting in that flow. It's finding that things that make you feel like a baller. That make you, and this is where I feel this Pisces energy one too can be a kind of assessing where maybe you've been selling yourself short, where maybe you've not allowed yourself to dream a bit more, to get into the flow of something bigger, of not just like taking on something that just cuz, taking on something that you really feel that you want, Cancer, you know? It's, let me get some tarot on this, Cancer, and get some details with us. Because I feel we're really getting ready to work with some, we're getting ready to work with some, we're already working with some very potent energy, but we started this new astrological year off very strong. And I feel that this is a time really for everyone, you know, to start getting into that flow, to get into come into their gifts and to start spreading that energy around. And I feel that the cardinals, you know, we start that off, you know, we you know, it's, and I feel like it's like this, you know, let's get some, let's see what's going on here, Cancer, before I get into the, oh, when I tell you, Cancer, I was getting, see, this what happens when we get in the flow of the energy there, Cancer. So here's Sagittarius, the Temperance card, so I was talking about that earlier. And you have the Magus card, Mercury, the universe or the world card, Saturn. And then you have the Four of Cups, the Five of Cups, and the Nine of Wands here, Cancer. Now with this art card, I feel that this is giving me this energy of expansion because it is Sagittarius energy. But I feel that there's something with this, because the Temperance card, as you see here, there's this a lot of opposites that are coming into this mix, dark and light, red and white here. It's like all this, because in the Lovers card in this deck, the Lovers card is the alchemical marriage, and this is like the honeymoon. But in the Lovers, the colors of the eagle and this tiger here are reversed, and so now they've traded. You know, there's this integration of opposites here, and I feel like for some that this could be where it's taking this dream that you have, and like I was saying, getting in the flow of this energy with the Magician, tapping that power within, that strength within there. Look at this Nine of Wands here. And not worrying about necessarily the, what if I fail, what if I do this, what if I do that. And I know it's easier said than done there, Cancer. I know, like, but I feel like where there is, I feel we are in a big energy, especially with that eclipse. It's like where there's a will, there's a way. But I feel in order to get to this flow, there are some things here that are needing to be closed out here. Some things that are maybe needing to, if we can't balance it out, then we may need to replace it all together. I feel this for some. Maybe you're thinking about your relationship with sugar, for example. Maybe you're trying to work with, instead of doing like sugar, maybe we're working with more honey, possibly. But I feel that even then, pay attention to excess, because I feel like we can maybe do a little bit over. How do I want to, It's just the Temperance card is also, temperance, moderation. And the Temperance card is right before the Devil. And so I feel like there's something here too just about not being disappointed with maybe if we've that's something interesting too, when you get out of the flow, because it happens from time to time there, Cancer. You'll be on a great roll and then something kind of slips you up there, a challenge comes through there, something that wasn't in your awareness that now has been kind of brought front and center, been brought from your subconscious or brought from the unconscious, and now let me get a little bit more on this, on the Temperance and the Four of Cups here, Cancer. Let me start with the Four of Cups here before we move on from this. Because this Four of Cups feels like an opportunity that is coming up for you here, Cancer. But, okay, interesting. Let me get the cards for the art card here, and then we'll get into this. Because the Four of Cups... Oh! How fast! Wow! Thanks, higher self. We're going to throw that one in there, too. Alright, Cancer. Let's see what's going on here with this. Interesting. Okay. So, let's start with the Four of Cups. So, the Four of Cups is clarified by the King of Cups in reverse. And that's interesting, because that's Pisces energy for me. And I feel that there's something here that we may not be seeing because we may be caught up in a Five of Cups energy. The Five of Cups can be this emotional upheaval. It can be a lot of kind of just raw emotions, real kind of, I'm pictured just very either kind of dry or just kind of just like hot energy, where you're just kind of really sort of in it sometimes with the Five of Cups. And I feel sometimes we can get caught up maybe in so much, it's like you're thrown off a different type of flow here. Something, let me get to this other energy here, Cancer, because that's interesting. You're getting a lot of doubles that are coming through here, at least because you got the Nine of Wands and the Four of Cups here in reverse, and then you also have the Seven of Swords and the Star card in reverse, and this is Aquarius energy. But with this Nine of Wands and this Four of Cups here being in reverse, I feel there's something that's getting in the way of your flow, Cancer, for something that where we may need to kind of process, that we may need to heal from, because the Star card is right after the Tower. And this may be where a Tower situation has maybe brought some truths to light here. Maybe there's been some things, and we maybe have been, maybe Cancer, and this could be maybe you, maybe someone around you has been maybe kind of telling themselves one story, but really there's something else that's coming up here, I feel, with this Seven of Swords. But this also is giving me too, with what, however we may be feeling a bit out of balance, where we still may be feeling from this healing process. The Seven of Swords, and I've talked about this before, the Seven of Swords is this energy of this guy is trying to prevent this war from happening. He's taking these swords from the army to find an alternative way. And I feel that this is in getting yourself back into your flow, getting back in the balance, healing from this Five of Cups energy. You do get different tools. You learn new things about yourself, and it gives you these resources to bring things to a close in order to welcome in some new stuff here, Cancer. I mean, this is something where I was thinking of, actually very interesting, and we'll move on, Cancer. When I was kind of going through my little kind of tough period here during that, it was, I'd say, probably from when the moon was in Gemini till about the moon was in Cap. Till about moon was in Capricorn. It was been a kind of a tough, that was a tough little chunk of time, but it got me back to my roots. It got me back to where I just like, what, I think I need to get, I kept getting this like download in my head, like make some tea, like, I got like all this St. John's wort in here, I got all this other stuff in here, and I've been getting this stuff regularly and just getting back on track. And how that's been personally how I've kind of gotten back into my flow. So, and it's in that, those times where you can see those tough times as gifts, because they can give you new tools to share with others, to give them something at least to try. And then in that, who knows what they may discover in that. Maybe tea's not the thing, but maybe they come across doing some crystal work, and that's found something that really resonates with them. Or maybe they come across some acupuncture, or maybe they go into more Tai Chi, or whatever that may unlock. But I feel that these tough upheavals, these periods of times where we feel our energies are at a low, where we're feeling stuck in times, they're blessings in disguise. And that's Pisces energy. I feel Pisces, it's one of those things. It could either be seen as a blessing or a curse. So, but let's get some more on this, Cancer. Cancer, with the King of Cups being in reverse too, just kind of think about that. I would say be mindful about letting others throw your flow off, and not that, and be mindful too with that people, sure that people can antagonize, they may try to get a rise out of you, but when it comes to Pisces and thinking about this stuff, it's all about how we respond to the energy. We may not be able to control these external influences, but you know what I mean, Cancer? So that's just something to be mindful of with that. It's one thing to say that we're going to have boundaries, but if we don't enforce them, then what does that matter? People still, it's just something I feel like just to think about, Cancer. All right, let's see what else we got here. Give yourself. Oh, interesting. Okay, so you have the Two of Swords, the Nine of Swords, and then the Eight of Discs here, Cancer. And with this Nine of Swords, the Nine of Swords can be pretty intense. This can be a card. What I'm getting with this for some is, that voice in your head that tells you that you can't do it. That voice that in a way, in a very, very obscure way, I feel like it's that voice that only is trying to keep you safe because it doesn't want you to get hurt. It doesn't want you to fail. It doesn't want you to. I feel that because the Nine of Swords is this fear, this anxiety, this nightmarish energy, and I feel that there's something here that, if there's something that's throwing off your flow, that's really kind of getting, even like messing with your day to day, the Two of Swords, I like that this is a card of peace. How do we get peace with the mind in that? You know, what are some things that we can do to, because the Nine of Swords, you're really in your head at that point. This is Mars and Gemini. It's gotten to the point where this is controlling your actions. You know, like Mars and Gemini, I feel sometimes on a shadow side can be just capricious, just like no kind of rhyme or reason, all over the place, skittish, nervous energy, you know, and can be aggressive, could be, you know, even in more aggressive and direct in the way that you speak and communicate. And be mindful of how we may be talking to ourselves, and again, how that could throw off your flow and make you work a lot harder on this journey than I feel is necessary. You know, that Pisces deals with, you know, they refer to Pisces in like the 12th, or even just thinking more so the 12th house is the place of unseen enemies. And that usually refers to the unseen enemy within, you know, where I'm thinking about how Libra is just open enemies. Yeah, Pisces is that one that we create within ourselves, that villain that we create. And really, when you think about it, yeah, sure, in the stories, the villain wants to take over the world or whatever the villain wants, but really, the villain and the hero kind of need each other. The villain gives the hero something to strive towards, to push himself, and the hero gives the villain something to strive towards as well, to beat the hero. So it's like both are trying to better one another, but they just do it in very different ways. And it is just trying to find that balance. You know, when like, oh, I'm feeling this sense of self-doubt. Why is it that I'm feeling that? Is it because of the environment that I'm in? Is it because of the things that I'm doing? How can I feel? What can I do to maybe mitigate that? What do I do to maybe even need to change that altogether? What decisions do I? Because the Two of Swords is giving me this, even like this teetering energy now that's kind of coming through, that maybe for some, there's this, you're maybe flirting with getting in the flow of something, but maybe this, that with the Eight of this, it may be thinking maybe more work that it's going to require, or But I feel if it's going to get you in the flow, Cancer, if it's going to bring you peace, it may be something that may be scary at first. But what I feel, it's you never really know how scary it is until you try. You know, until you really, even. I would have never thought that I'd be putting myself out there on YouTube like this, even having all the Leo energy in my chart that I do. You know, it's not something that I had, you see me on the internet. I'm still trying to figure out how to be on social media. So it's been something that I've had to learn to get into the flow, that I've had to, that I was teeter on the fence with. But and since doing it, it's been a joy. It's been something where I've had to, work on some, being more confident, being more this, but in the grand scheme, it's been pretty cool. So I feel like this could be, whatever this thing that you may be resisting, Cancer, or maybe afraid of, this could be more cool than you think. Maybe manifest your universe there, Cancer. That's all Saturn wants at the end of the day. But let's get some advice from Big Papa and Neptune. Oh, Cancer, how wonderful. There we are. All right, Cancer. Okay. Thank you, yourself last little bit here. Alright, Cancer, you have the Three of Swords, the Prince of Swords, and a wonderful Chariot here. Cancer, let's switch back over. Cancer, with the Chariot, I feel that we are at a time, I feel like we're at a shift right now where I feel like there's like this collective push that's happening. I feel like more people are trying to get in the flow, get in their flow. But I feel it's something that it's one thing to want that flow, but it's like there's something with the Prince of Swords that's needing that thought to be more focused, to be more. It's I would say like the best, like for example, just because this is just what I'm doing. When I think about being, being an astrologer, tarot reader, it's just like there are all types of astrologers and tarot readers, but it's just like, what's the thing? What is like the thing that my focus? What is the thing that makes me unique? And that's where I bring up like, oh, well, I have a musical background, or I think about and I think about like how I've herbology background and just like all these things, like just like I've worked out as long as I've have been, just like the experience that I've come across, and it's like that's what I mean, kind of like being in the flow, and see how the Chariot, he's like he's meditating in his victory. This charioteer here. That's what I really like about this chariot. It's not where most of the chariots are going towards this one. He's already living it. He's feeling it, and now it's just like, I don't know. There's something very intentional about this chariot, about really taking that internal side and solidifying that. There's a story here, I want to say, with the chariot, that no one's allowed to see underneath it. And I may be exaggerating this part because I think I made a joke about it later. But it's like no one can see underneath under his armor or something, like no one can see the dream because he'll have to kill you. And that's, again, I'm exaggerating. But it was in that he's like, there's this something he's protecting very fiercely. And I feel if the more that we stay out of that flow, the more sadness that comes. I feel with this Three of Swords, this melancholy that starts brewing up, because this Three of Swords is giving me that. I don't know, it's giving me, for some, maybe we've been derailed in some sort of way. Maybe there's a need to a relationship with something that has, because this is Saturn and Libra, and it's like giving me this energy of like, it's like maybe we're realizing that there's a relationship that we may need to change, whether this be with a person, with a substance, with a place, with employment, whatever this is, with how we come to ourselves. But there's something I feel that where it may feel tough letting it go at first, in the grand scheme of things, it's going to be something that will be totally worth it, something victorious, something that, it's something that's worth it, Cancer. But I think I'm going to leave that there. But if that resonated with you, Cancer, if you like that, give it a thumbs up. And share this, Cancer, if you know someone who's been maybe struggling to get into flow, been having troubles kind of tapping into their magician energies, been trying to look outside of themselves to find something, or maybe just been going through it, and maybe just been kind of down in the dumps as of late. I feel this Three of Swords too. I feel like there's something to looking for something to help get that energy moving again. And then subscribe to you, Chariot. Hit that bell button to get notified on all these videos each day. And then, Cancer, I think that's, check my description box for my other channel, Alchemist 8, where I do other readings. I talk about the celestial weather that's going on. I talk about the aspects that are happening each week and how that may be translating in your chart, give you some themes to think about, maybe hopefully some stuff that can help motivate you through this energy. And and then all the information, the book of readings it's down in the description. It's down in the description box below. So let me get you surprise cards here. I've been playing around with the flow of my readings here as of late there, Cancer. So mind that. But let me get your surprise card so I can get you out of here. And I love that. Here's Neptune. You got the Hanged Man here, Cancer. With this Hanged Man, I feel like this energy is, like I was talking with the Chariot, the need to maybe pause for a moment and reflect on where our flow has gone. Are we flowing in the path that we want to, or has something gotten us thrown off? Or something thrown us off? Or What does that look? What that's look? Because I feel there's even something to here. Maybe for some we may have started a path and it may not be working out quite how you want it to, and now there's a need to again take a moment and just kind of see things from a different perspective. And I also think with this Hanged Man energy too. I feel that sometimes what happens with Pisces, and let me get your surprise card or your other oracle card, because I feel sometimes what can happen with Pisces is that disillusionment, that disenchantment that happens. When you have the dream, it's so wonderful that sometimes you don't want to go towards it because then it's not a dream anymore. Then it's like, oh, now it's like it's a part of my everyday. But it's like that's what we want, but sometimes it's like I feel like that can be what we may resist too. And so I feel that you hear yourself. Well, Cancer, let me talk about this energy because I like this. You got the sixth card here, which is Lover's energy, but you got the Beaver Spirit, which is a card to lay a solid foundation. And I like that this is coming up as we're getting towards this next new moon cycle here because I feel that okay, there we go. There's my point because I was like, oh, I lost it for a moment. That when we get to the dream, it becomes commonplace. But I feel like to not let that keep you from accomplishing it, because it's like, if you can achieve that, then you can achieve something bigger here. That don't let that be where it's discouraging, but let that be where it's like it's heartening, where it's like, oh, okay, I've laid this foundation down, and I wasn't sure how the hell I did it. Like I didn't, at the time it didn't seem possible. And so I feel this Beaver Spirit is really kind of believing you can make the possible possible, that you can build a foundation, that you can retain the water. When I'm thinking about beavers building the dam, they're holding water back. And I feel like it's like you're building a dam and building the I'm just picturing like water from the cosmic ocean here, just kind of pooling together. You're building on top of this. You're kind of like, it's fascinating what I'm picturing. You getting in the flow. You really kind of get, and that's where I feel this energy is leading to us this year. And what I feel Neptune is really kind of trying to get us to lay down before she moves into Aries, before I feel things get real. So take that however it resonates. But I think I'm gonna leave that there, Cancer. You stay mindful out there. Keep your stay present, Cancer. Stay mindful. Keep eyes on the moon. The crescent's getting thin, so feel this energy out. I'm so excited to talk about this new moon energy here. The visuals I've been getting for this is lovely. And I will catch you, Cancer, on the next one tomorrow.